Lao Tzu says, "Those who flow as life flows know they need no other force." Lao Tzu was an ancient Chinese philosopher and writer who is known to be the founder of Taoism. He is also credited as the writer of Taoism's most sacred text, the Tao Te Ching. Taoism is a philosophy which teaches a life of ease, living in harmony with the Tao. The word Tao translates into path, method, principle, or way, and Taoist belief is based on the idea that the Tao is an organizing principle of the universe, a natural order that one can come to know by living in harmony with nature. Taoism suggests that life is like the course of a river, and most of us are clinging to the bank, afraid to let go, and risk being carried along by the current of the river. At a certain point, each of us must be willing to simply let go and trust the river to carry us along safely. At this point, we learn to go with the flow. Once we've become accustomed to being in the flow of the river, we can begin to look ahead and guide our course onward. Thus, flow is about leading your life's course with minimal resistance. It is about allowing the course of your life to unfold whilst making conscious decisions about what's ahead of you, and in this video we will talk about 6 ways to be in flow with your life from the wisdom of Lao Tzu. Number 1. Let go of your ego. In the words of Lao Tzu, the ego is entranced by names and ideas. However, names and concepts only block your perception of this great oneness. Taoism teaches us that everything is connected and we are part of a greater whole, that we are much more than our job or our physical appearance, and only when we let go of this false identity given by the ego will we be able to live a fulfilling life. By linking our identity to what we do professionally or the job title we hold, we put ourselves in boxes, and these boxes end up being our prison as we endlessly strive to live up to these identities. If you focus too much upon labels, career titles, and money, when you lose those things, you lose yourself. We need to understand that our name, our possessions, our profession, what constitutes our ego, doesn't define who we are. The Tao says that which can be named is not the Tao. As soon as you place a label on someone, you reduce your estimation of that person to the expectations that label implies, even if that person is you. Taoism, however, doesn't discourage us from having goals and pursuing them, and instead asks us to not get too attached to the ideas or identities we create, because when we're attached to something, we hold on to it, and holding on to anything beyond its due time means we cannot let go of it, and so we move in opposition to the flow of our life. Many people, for example, go all their lives proudly attached to the job position they hold. They might have had one of the highest earning and most respected positions in their firm for decades, but their whole world comes crumbling down the day they get fired. This happens because we can't let go of our narrow self-identity. Instead of looking at the unity of all things and how we form part of a greater whole, we end up reducing ourselves to a mere job title or physical trait. We came into the world without any preconceptions. We had no concept of race, religion, or social class when we were born. It is only when we grow older that we cling to these things, even believing they define us. We segment ourselves into groups and shun people who don't fit into the same bracket as us. The Tao Te Ching says forget the rules and flow freely in whichever way life takes you. We need to realize that we are already connected to everything in our lives that we think is missing, such as love, happiness, and inner peace. We just have to align ourselves properly to find it. Lao Tzu teaches us that we are like an onion, and we must unpeel the different layers of skin to become free. He says, When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. Once we become free, especially of the ego and false identities, we find all of the things we'd been longing for flowing into our lives in abundance. Number 2. Dare not to be first. Lao Tzu tells us that all streams flow to the sea because it is lower than they are. Humility gives it its power. Humility is one of the 3 jewels of Taoism, along with compassion and simplicity. In Taoism, humility is translated as the phrase, "dare not be first." Taoism teaches us that we are all just a small part of the great oneness. We can imagine ourselves as a collection of rivers that are all tributaries to a single stream of water. Despite the apparent separation between the different rivers, they're all connected to the same source. This source is the Tao. If we apply this analogy to our lives, we'll find that much like the individual rivers contributing to that same body of water, we too are all a part of a greater whole, and we're governed by the universal energy common to all of us. In the hyper-competitive rat race we all call modern life, we very much neglect this wisdom. We all desperately wish to be the first one to do something or to go somewhere, but often that is too great a risk or requires more time and energy than is reasonable, as we are going against the flow of life. Also, competing and challenging others in order to be first can upset or offend them, and people often react badly to being challenged this way, sometimes even violently. Our efforts and struggles towards our goals creates an internal sense of value that often bears little resemblance to how valuable that goal is in reality. As a result, we become too hung up on labels and titles, social status, wealth, etc., so that when we achieve our goals, it naturally boosts our egos to a stage where we end up looking down on people who aren't on par with us. The truth is, no matter how much one competes and thrives, none of us are really self-made. Ask yourself, how much of your life have you earned? First, our lives depend on our parents. They feed us, protect us, and nurture us as infants. Did you earn it? No. Then, in your childhood, you had teachers who helped you learn to read and write, parents who clothed and fed you, a community that provided food, clothing, and entertainment. As an adolescent, you relied on your parents to feed you, do your laundry, made it possible for you to go to school, and so on. So now, as an adult, how much of your life has been earned? According to Lao Tzu, nothing. Hence, your life is a gift from everyone but you. You are where you are because of the benevolence and compassion of others. Hence, you cannot look at someone less fortunate and think that they earned their position while you earned your higher one. And therefore, you have no right to an ego. None of us have earned our keep. Humility, or not presuming to be at the forefront in the world, is the only truthful way to relate to the world and to others. It isn't a weakness. It's not a tool to get what you want. It is reality. There are different ways one can practice being humble. One of them could be taking a walk in the evening and thinking of everyone around you, your family, friends, your neighbours, work colleagues, and so on. Now think about them without their labels or wealth. Consider what issues they may be facing. Some may have a troubled married life. Some may be struggling financially. Others may be struggling with addiction. Think of ways you can help them without any expectations. If you begin to see yourself as part of others' lives, their problems will become your problems. But, by the same token, their joys will become your joys. Number 3. Let go of your desire to rush things. According to Lao Tzu, he who rushes ahead doesn't go far. We've all